Davis, I agree completely. I just think that I tried him last time, and I think that other horses are going to sit a better trip in here, Silo Ridge being one of them, but also JD Factor, who we'll take a look at in his last race and his last good effort, where he does just come up short to Concord Spirit, and he did not run very well last time at all in that common race where Light the Way ended up finishing second to Derby Nest that we were discussing, and maybe it just was him not really handling that particular off track that day. I'm going to give him another chance out of that race because he projects to get the right kind of setup. And that's what he got when he was able to run successfully in this race. It was a career best performance from him, an 85 Beyer speed figure. He does come up just a little bit short in here, but he got the dream kind of trip, saving all the ground, angling out at the right moment. Now he gets back to the fast track today, and I just thought he would get a similar kind of trip, but he does have to show up and show that that last race isn't going to be a pattern moving forwards.
Yeah, maybe he just didn't at this stage. His last two sealed off-track efforts were just not good. My biggest knock on him is that both the wins for him have been wire to wire, where he's been able to control, and tracks may have helped him along the way with that. And I'm not saying, that his efforts running second weren't bad. They just were not. He just didn't get the job done. And then he got way over bet last time based on those efforts against that field and really kind of backed up quickly. So for me, I know I got him second in here just because, but I was all in on the Silo Ridge bandwagon today.
All right, and Eddie, if we can get those names and picks changed, that'd be great. If not, I think that people can figure out that I'm not Paul and he's not Sarah. But moving on to race number 2, we did see a couple of scratches.
Well,
in
we
here.
agree here.
We do.
So, I mean,
it's not really that much
yeah,
of a difference in
it's
here.
interchangeable here.
Look, we did see a couple of scratches. We knew that one was going to come out for trainer Jamie Ness, as he had Ruben Silvera listed to ride both. And here, I can't take Dr. Kraft on top yet again, a horse that already has a propensity to finish second. And whatever some may think of the ride last time or not, he was never winning that race. So I don't want to be overtly critical. And he also has to deal with Colomio in here, who I do think is going to be forwardly placed. But here's a look at Landoro finishing ahead of him.
Listen, prior to the last race, there was nothing wrong, with Landoro's form. And when you look at the race where he finished second in this spot, Shadow Dragon was closer to the pace than he normally was and got the job done in there. So last time out, I think against that field, which was tougher than what he's going to face today, he just kind of got bumped around a little bit, ended up inside, then ended up in between horses, just didn't look all that comfortable. Smaller field today. I know that they always kind of bunch up when things get smaller in the field size. But he's
I
got
don't hate that for him because that's where he ran very well at that start. A couple starts ago, he was
fair.
closer.
Yeah, no, that's fair, and I don't mind that either. I don't mind him up close today either. So I got wrecked completely in this race because I originally had Baron of Sealand on top, and I had the 1A in there somewhere too. But I just, like you, cannot do the Dr. Kraft thing, pick him second and third quite a bit. That's where he seems to like to finish, and it's the same old song. He runs his race. He's a cool horse. He just doesn't get the job done. And I know blinkers are going on Colomio, but I don't think it's going to make him any faster on the cutback today. So, and I think My Last Mission's faster if they send him. But the crazy thing is when he was here last time, they actually took him from off the pace as opposed to putting him on it. So I don't know what kind of ride we're going to get today. I would think they're going to be more forward today, though, with only half of the entry left in.
Yeah, we'll see. And Dr. Kraft was able to finish ahead of him last time that they met. So a tough matchup between some of these. And we see this race very similarly with Landoro bouncing back after that last race where he was a little bit further back and just kind of disappointing. But any of his races, 2, 3, even 4 back, he looks to project a good trip in here and has the numbers to be competitive. As we move on to race number 3, where I think that you shared a similar reticence and pain that I did with putting Wajda on top in this spot, who we'll take a look at, who did get the win last time. If we can reverse those order of replays. Thanks, Eddie. You're on top of it. I appreciate it.
And the picks fix. Shout out to everybody in the truck.
I know.
They
Great
are
job,
on the ball
guys.
today for a Wednesday.
Look, he has early speed. He ran very well. First off, the claim for Linda to finally break his maiden in the spot, a horse who had that propensity to take a lot of money and not get the job done. I wanted somebody else in here, and I looked around, and I just could not take somebody else on top.
I couldn't either, and I know that this was a fast pace for the level, and I'm just not sure, regardless of how this turned out, whether or not it was the field or moving to Linda's barn. But either way, this horse ran probably the best race that we've seen this horse run. From a visual standpoint, he looked like a good horse and looked like a winner, and there was nobody else in that field you really wanted to gravitate to anyway. And then you start picking apart the other horses in this race. Macville likes to be forward. One Vision's going on the ledge, who we'll talk about in a minute, has speed. accidental bid. I know last time didn't get the right break, and the day was kind of over early, and I'm not 100% sold on the mile, even though the horse ran well at a mile before that. And Western Wolf has speed. To me, even if Waja didn't make the lead in here, at least Waja had a race going way back when on October 1st of 23, where this horse actually was able to sit and come from off the pace. So at the end of the day, not the finest horse that I want to hang my hat on, and not a horse that's probably going to be 8-5 that I would love to hang my hat on. But with the rest of this group in here, I just didn't know what else to do or where to go.
I agree, and we'll look at the horse who is the second choice on the morning line, who is coming off a significant layoff, one that we haven't seen since August of last year, and we're taking a look all the way back to a race where he was successful and really demolished a field, but he was coming off of a year-plus layoff that day. So, I mean, you do know that he can run fresh, but at the same time, do you really want 5-2 and the second choice on this horse coming back after he was forward and then faded, especially with other pace in the race, and just has that one big effort? I couldn't bank myself put him on top, but he ends up being the other horse just because you look around at the rest of this field and he at least has that fast number as well as a couple others within the 60 for buyers that make him a player.
Yeah, and to be fair, on April 27th, going way back when of 23, he ended up getting off a little slow because he got knocked around. He made a move into the race. It wasn't like he sat and went. He kind of made a move into the race. So he probably can also do the same thing, but you'd have to think coming off of the layoff and with the speed he's had, he's going to be fresh and probably be up top. And claim got voided. He was gone for 8 months. Obviously, something went wrong. And the day that he blew out that field, he was a big drop down anyway. So I don't know what to do with him. He's going to be second choice in here. I guess he can win if he doesn't get swept up in any kind of pace battle. Maybe he sits right off of them and gets first jump. It was a lot of 3s and 4s for me, and it was like questionable 3s and 4s and everybody else.
All right, well, moving on to race number 4, and we will take a break after this one as we do see a group of 6 in this starter optional claiming for the 3-year-old fillies. And we did have Taliesin come out of here, but you went to the horse who is joining the Jamie Ness barn for the first time after breaking her maiden, and She's Complicated, who we'll take a look at over a wet track. The drop worked out perfectly for her, and she was able to win very comfortably in this spot.
Yeah, very easily, and the drop helped her. Did the off-track help her a little bit as well that she took to it? Maybe, but she ran well. She sat right outside just off the leaders, got that lead coming off the turn, and drew off nicely when she leveled off. The figure came back as a 68. We'll see how it translates. Again, I'd like to see it again on a dry track. But when I was looking around in this race and saw horses like the 2 and the 4 in this spot, maybe she just gets that same kind of trip today. Jamie's numbers are what they are. He's 3 for 13 with 7 in the money, $1.34 ROI, first off the claim with maiden winners next time out on the dirt. So in a field where I didn't trust the horse you have on top and I have second fully, I was kind of, again, putting my eggs in one basket in this race, and I was looking at She's Complicated as possibly being a single for me just based off that last effort. But I do want to see it one more time on a fast track.
Right, and that was kind of my thinking with her, who her last race is just faster than what I've seen from the horse that I ended up picking up on top in here, except when she broke her maiden, that's Vehemente. But I think that there's a case to be made that she's been facing better company overall than a lot of the rest of the others in this field in terms of where she was able to be successful or at least do some running. I think that she's shown that she can sort of step up a little bit more to the level of competition that she's been facing. And I think just last time out, coming off that little bit of a break over at Colonial, that was a day where speed played very kindly for their weekend that they had for the Virginia Derby as well as the Virginia Oaks. And we saw plenty of horses with early speed do very well over that weekend. And she was one that just had a little bit of trouble early on in that race, but still ran okay to finish third. And that number, the 61 by her speed figure she earned, it's in line with pretty much the rest of her races. So I thought that if there's another little bit of step forward, if she can get back to maybe just a couple points higher than that, she's still a player in this spot. And I just think that when she dropped in class, that was a day where she was easily the best in there. And she was just one that had been able to sort of keep up with some tougher horses in the past. So just in terms of company kept, that's where I landed with her. But this is a competitive group. I think you could also make the case, and for Blue Eyed Scout, who's going to take some money in here. And then we don't really have in the mix as much, but the number 2 horse going out for Anthony Dutrow, who is trying the dirt for the first time, whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce, but this horse has plenty of early speed.
See the cat.
See the cat? Oh,
See the
okay.
cat.
It's much easier than I thought.
Yeah.
All right.
What did you think it was?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. See the cat. So this horse, we'll see if she takes to the dirt in here. She got in front of a marginal at best group last time on the drop on the synthetic. So, and speed plays well when you get in front down there at Gulfstream on that synthetic course. So, number came back as a 62. And again, we'll see if she can transfer it to dirt in here. I'm guessing that if she can carry that same kind of speed or go 22 and change, she might just be in front, depending on what Blue Eyed Scout does in here. But she's going to have to carry it on the dirt for the first time. So I'd like to see it. And sometimes those Gulfstream numbers get a little inflated for me, and then they come up here and they run a little bit shorter than that and not to the number. But it's all about whether or not she's going to take to the dirt, because if she breaks, she'll be forward.
Wow, it was really that easy, huh?
Yeah, it was that simple.
Jeez. See, sometimes when you just overthink things, it's too difficult.
Yeah.
And I don't think Brooklyn Rhapsody is totally impossible either. I think she's just one that we've kind of seen more of her. She doesn't have that same upside.
Hey, I wonder if the level is a little too much for her. But I will say one thing, though. Look at Connor Moss. He's got 6 for 30, 14 in the money, $1.76 RI, first off the trainer switch in these kind of situations. So bats pretty well with that. So, I mean, but I just think the level's a little bit too high.
I agree with you there. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
We're back. And we move on to race number 5 here, where we do have the $15,000 claimers going to 7 for a long distance in here. Empty Tomb comes out. I think that he was the half of the entry that was going to take some significant money. Not that Kahala is without a chance. And we have Persistent Danger rematching with Gun Maestro, and Gun Maestro's last race, kind of a strange effort where he was forward and then he dropped back and then he made this second move like he was going to be a threat in there at a big price. And we are seeing yet another member of the Marat family riding here in town, so really looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, Christian's going to be here and also at Monmouth. I guess from here to Monmouth, so we'll see him at Aqueduct, and always love having the Mirages around, so add another one to the fold. And taking a look at this race, this was one of Gun Maestro's better races that he's run in a long time. So the problem that I have is that he's just lost to several of them in here when the time has come, push come to shove, when he's faced them. But it was good to see this horse get back to a better race, because this horse had good races for Linda way back when, going back. So it was good to see. And he's got this case we were talking about Persistent Danger, sorry.
We can talk about
no,
it.
it's a Wednesday thing, because you saw me downstairs do the same thing earlier
Sure,
today
it's
with
all
something
Wednesday.
else. Yeah, no, I know. Blame it on Wednesday. So I wonder too if Persistent. I'll just shift to
You
Persistent.
can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah,
Paul.
no,
We
no.
have- we
I'll
have
go back
time.
to Persistent. I'll just shut up now. No, in Persistent Danger's case too, maybe she got helped along a bit by being inside, but I mean, she fought though. Every step until she could shake clear and open up. So got a career best figure too last time out for that effort. So I would think again, Maddie over aboard, and they're going to be forward from an inside post. Maddie's aggressive when a horse breaks. So and looking around, I mean, early on, maybe Dad's Good Runner's going to show a little bit of speed. I mean, Screaming Uncle's fast enough to keep pace, but maybe Persistent Danger can help to. Again, with another good inside trip. I don't think that horse is impossible. I have the horse second in here.
I thought that was a great ride by Maddie last time, and I was really impressed with how committed she was to having that inside position and having this horse be forwardly placed, because then, yes, Persistent Danger had a little bit of fight and a little bit of gameness to him, and I think that she was very well aware of the speed that other horses around her possessed, but also that if they didn't make the lead, namely Thank You John, they were not going to run as well. And I think that was all very well thought out and intentional, and I was very impressed by that ride. And so I didn't really see a reason why it couldn't be one that would happen again. This horse is in great form and had some races prior to that last one that certainly tipped that he was moving in the right direction, and some unlucky trips as well.
Yeah,
So
prior to that. Yeah.
I just think that relative to the field he's in now, especially with Empty Tomb coming out, just makes a lot of sense. But you went over to He's Got This, who seems like another main player.
Just has the most consistent figures out of this group, race after race after race, even while dropping in class too, from 20 to 15 and back up to 20, back to 15, 40 to 20 drop. It's just run more consistent, 69, 70, 71 every start. I'm hoping today Christopher Elliott gives this horse a little bit more patient ride and a little bit more different approach, because in all of these last 4 starts, this horse has made middle moves or moves into the pace early and has been first attacking it and either gets to the lead or gets just within a head and then kind of flattens out a little bit in the stretch. So with this horse, I think it's all about timing. I think it's all about when to pull the trigger, and I'm hoping Christopher kind of waits a little bit longer to get the job done with this horse today. It does worry me a little bit that this horse is 0 for 7 over this surface, but it's not like that this horse hasn't run well in previous starts against some fields that were better, and Flat Out Flying had gotten good for a while as well. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we can get Gregory Charlery that first win.
Yeah.
In there, for those of you who don't know, he's a longtime assistant to John Toscano Jr., rest in peace, and he is now starting to take over and be on his own. So we wish him the best of luck there, and hopefully I can get him his first winner.
Definitely. All right. Well, looking forward to seeing what he does in the future as we move on to what is the first turf race of the season, a maiden special weight going 1 mile and a 16th on the outer. And of course, it wouldn't be turf season without a Chad Brown favorite filly, as Midway Memories comes in from Tampa, and she ran well first time out to finish second, kind of that blanket photo finish for that second place finish. She wasn't the most favored of the Chad Brown entrants in that race. That was your third place finisher who actually went off as the favorite in there. There's nothing wrong with this horse. She probably ends up winning in here. She's even money on the line.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to beat this horse. This horse kind of settled at the back and kind of flew home on the outside and just missed in a 3-way photo. And the winner of the race was a first-time turfer for Christophe Clement after on the turf, having run on the dirt prior. So Chad's numbers are just ridiculous with this. It's 23 for 107 with fillies coming back in their second start, 42 for 182 as well when it comes 98 in the money with second-time starters on the turf with 3-year-olds. And I'm just, as an inside draw today, may be able with that experience to be a little bit closer or just in the mid-pack range. And I think when you look around across this field, I think it's going to be all systems go for this horse today.
Yeah, I have nothing against. I went in a little bit of a wild direction on top, but we'll talk about the horse coming in from France for Christophe Clement first, because I think this is another one that's going to take a bulk of the money in terms of being the other horse that people gravitate towards. This one having those 3 starts over in France, running well in all of them, hitting the board, and short prices in some of those as well. But I don't know. I just kind of want to see them make their first start in the States and kind of get a feel for how they're running over these surfaces, because I think that overall these foreign invaders, just because turf is such a mainstay and focus and they have better turf horses a lot of the times than we do, they just get overbet. So I just kind of want to see what we get from this one.
Yeah, realistically, though, I mean, this horse, sans the horse on the rail, the one who interests me, and you actually like the other half of the entry, I don't think there's much to hang your hat on in here. So I think this horse is ultimately going to be second choice. What I'm not crazy about this horse is the winners of those races. Well, the winner in the debut hasn't run since. Miss Oxford's just been placed ridiculously over her head, so you can't really get a gauge because she's run 11th, 10th, and 11th in 3 stakes since then. And the winner of the last race didn't really step up majorly in class and ran 9th and 4th in a handicap and in a claiming stake. So it's kind of like mixed results on what this horse is, and I don't think this horse has that much speed either based on the running lines and some of the charts going back, kind of trying to look them up. So we'll see where this horse shakes out early on. I, like you, would like to see one start from this horse where normally I think, well, they're going to come here and just usually drown whatever's running in the race. So we'll see what we get out of her today. And she's also 4-2, and I find it sometimes too that you see more of the 3-year-olds and the younger horses that come over tend to do better right away than the older ones. But
making
maybe
that
that's just me.
adjustment a
Yeah,
little bit
making
more.
that adjustment. So I don't know. For me, I have her 4th in here. I like you had a kind of bomby horse in the second spot where you have one on top.
All right. Well, I'll go with my crazy horse first. Magnum's Microburst going out for Dave Donk. The 2 dirt starts, off since February, now trying the turf. This is not an overwhelmingly stellar pedigree, but it is one that is all turf. And the dam was much better over the surface. And we did see really this is a turf sire, even though he can get a couple of dirt runners. When you go from that percentage of dirt sprinters to turf routers, you double get Stormy's success with his progeny. And the dam was a 4-time winner for David Donk. And a couple of those races were in off the turf races, but it was with more distance as well. And I think that that's going to really be key for this horse. I thought against the racetrack a little bit first time out, broke slowly. That was a day where being inside was more advantageous. And I felt as though you saw her get over to the rail, save that little bit of ground, and actually start to move a little bit, but then had to angle out for that clear room and just was totally flat getting off of that better part of the racetrack, and then just ran into a really good horse last time out, but did have better gate speed and more forward position in that spot, but then ended up being caught 5 wide as that was a competitive pace. And she's running into Paula the Star, who came back to run third in the Jimmy Winkfield with a 79 by her speed figure. So I like that she was a little bit more forward, that took that step forward in maturity from the first to the second start. And I just wanted somebody that I thought if I was going to beat Midway Memories, it would be with someone more forwardly placed. So I thought that coming out of those 2 sprint races, showing a little bit more speed and now getting a little bit of time, a little bit more distance, and switching over to the grass, that this one was a price that I wanted to throw in the mix in here at any possible hope of upsetting your heavy favorite.
Yeah, and based on the dam and the second dam, this horse will appreciate going longer and on the grass. My goofy horse was Pay the Bills because I just felt like even though they were against the maiden claiming level, I mean, I know the buyers backed up from a 69 to a 66 to a 61, but if this horse can get back to either one of those 69s or 66s against this company with some unknowns in here, this horse kind of figures to at least get part of it today. And if it wasn't the connections, you would get a much shorter price than what you're going to get today. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, in here, this horse is going to be 25 to 1 or probably the longest shot on the board or close to it.
An interesting start to turf season as we move on to race number 7, where we did see Antonio of Venice come out, which does change the pace as well as how this race is going to be bet. And you ended up picking the horse that I know we both liked a little bit in second. You still kept him on top with Laser Sharp. But we'll take a look back at What's Up Bro and Contrary Thinking facing each other in a race that Antonio of Venice was in as well. And Ignite the Light ends up being your winner in this spot. And Ignite the Light was really unlucky not to win his next start. I thought that he was off slowly, ran the best race, crying out for room, trying to find a spot, ended up finishing second against a tough field in there. But I kind of want to see what we get from What's Up Bro now in this spot, because now he has a lot less pace to deal with, and that made him a lot more intriguing to me versus Contrary Thinking is the one that came from a little bit further off the pace.
Yeah, I mean, I know on its face, What's Up Bro kind of completely fell apart with setting that pace in the stretch, but the pace was fast and demanding, and I'm not sure it's going to be as fast, but Daufusky Island can go, and we've seen the good Daufusky Island pop those 45 halves. So I'm wondering how this is going to shake out, and I mean, that's really the main danger for What's Up Bro in here is Daufusky Island, and we'll see what we get out of him. I have the horse third in here. I want to use all of the 1, 3, and 4 in this spot. I think it's an easier pace scenario for What's Up Bro today, but he's just got to shake off the 5 in this spot.
And he needs to get out of the gate, which he's had a little
he's
bit of trouble with
lately
over his last couple of starts. I know he was coming off a break in 2 of them, so he's also not one to typically fire his best right off of a layoff, and now he's had those opportunities to sort of race into fitness, this being his third off of some time away. And I thought that his job did get a little bit easier with one forwardly placed type coming out in here, which made him more intriguing to me and me more likely to go in his direction. But we can take a look at Daufusky Island because, as you mentioned, he's not slow either, and he comes in first off the claim now after running 4th in this spot after showing some speed. I just sort of wonder if his absolute best races are going to be anything of what we see today, but he's been forward. He's been able to still have that same kind of early speed as of late.
Yeah, and he finally got that elusive win over this surface. That's why I would never pick him, because he was over 14, 15, 16, 17, and he was running seconds and thirds, but just wasn't getting the job done on top. He finally got that win 2 back when he was able to kind of comfortably control, open up, and then held on. And last time again, I know it was in the mud, which may or may not be his favorite surface, but he got hooked again and headed, and then he just kind of gave way. So that's why I'm just kind of curious what happens today with the horse to the inside of him, and that's why I really didn't like him today. But it's interesting, like I said, that Rudy keeps him in, and it's going to be all systems go from that post and Ruben aboard.
All right, you kept Laser Sharp on top. Horse, I think, is very interesting, and he had some trouble for sure in his last start at Tampa.
Yeah, his last two starts, he got off slow, two starts back, and then last time out, he kind of got pinched at the break, and that wasn't really his fault about getting away slow, and he still made a move. He was wide, and then he was even wider coming into the stretch, and still got up for second. And he's got that race here back in November, which plays well from just off the pace. I know that these figures don't jump off the page by any means, but he's a horse that always seems to find himself in a good enough position mid-pack to jump on the speed that's there. Now, he's got 5 seconds. That's a little worrisome. But I think today, if we see What's Up Bro not run back to a better race, even being on the lead and Daufusky Island, or they get hooked, this horse has a chance to be able to pick them up, along with Contrary Thinking, who I know last time he totally looked like he was making a move into that pace and gave way. But I just wonder if he needed that race, because I don't think he's that
Possible.
bad of a horse. I really don't. Today will tell, but I don't think he was as bad as he looked last time out, because I think he needed that effort. So I kind of just wanted horses that were going to be just off the pace in here to get the job done, because I don't trust What's Up Row, and I don't trust Daufusky Island.
And that's totally fair. And I think with Contrary Thinking, too, yes, big figure in his second start at Saratoga, but against the racetrack then, too,
Yeah.
because that was that weekend, Belmont Stakes weekend at Saratoga. You really wanted to be forward, and horses were having a tough time with getting through any of the kickback that weekend. So perhaps also still fast number, but a little bit against things as well.
Yeah, and I just, like I said, last time out, if you go back and you take a look at the race, I didn't send the replay, but he really was making a move as if he was going to do something, and he just flattened out behind Ignite the Light and Antonio Venice in there.
All right, as we move on to the finale, and we do have another turf race, full field of 12 going out here, and I think the horse that has the most noticeable trip last time is one we'll take a look at in here at Tampa. This one going to be breaking from post 1 now, Regaza de Oro. This horse just gets totally carried out, as we'll take a look at here from the half down, because there's position, and then everything just ends up going wrong for this
Yeah,
guy.
he's the 6 here, and you can see he's starting. First of all, he checked a little bit there as the 8 was backing up into him. So he stopped a little bit on the backstretch, and then he starts making a move into the race, and the 2 kind of backs up. All right, he gets past him, but you can see he kind of chopped his stride there. Now, as he gets into the turn, you're going to see the 1 just bolt, and the 1's going to carry the horse outside of him and carry Regazo de Oro out, way out into the center of the track. I'm not saying that this horse was going to win this race, but he was going to run better than what he ended up finishing with, and ultimately ended up finishing 4th. So it's not like he gave up in that spot. He still came running in the stretch. I know he was beaten 18, but he could have just called it a day, wrapped up on him, and been beaten 30 in that spot. Now he draws inside today, which I hope he avoids a trip from drawing inside, but nevertheless, he draws inside. First time with New York breds today. I think he's... Now we'll see what price he ends up being with the trip he had last time. I don't think he's going to be the favorite in here. I think they are. I think David's got this right. And I think they're going to go to the 3 in this spot, and the 12 will probably take some money. But I think today, first time New York breds off that trip last time, the 50,000 doesn't bother me. The 16s, 25s going up to 50, that doesn't bother me at all. I think today we'll get to see what this horse really can do.
And even first time out, off a little bit slow. He was caught wide. So he's had some trips in both of those 2 starts, and certainly plenty of excuses in that last one, because he was seeming like he was going to do some running.
Yeah,
and
twice. He got stopped, yeah.
it kind of reminds me of that stakes race that we had, who I'm not going to remember who ended up winning in that spot. But I remember it was during a time where Bill Mott was really cold, and he ended up winning because some of the horses
Oh, they both
ended up being carried out on the
Yes.
turn.
We were on the show.
We were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to
It was
remember
you,
who it
Acacia,
was.
and
but
I don't remember who the horse is.
I don't either.
Yeah, all 3 of us were like, whoa. Like,
Yeah,
we're like, we need
yeah.
to run that back. Yeah,
But
they got
it
carried out.
reminds me of that, where
Yeah.
everything is just that's the end
Yeah.
of that day, and you try again next time. But there are a couple others to talk about in here. Make Your Moment, the number 3, going to take some money. I agree with you there. Just a horse who has that turf experience coming in and didn't really do anything wrong, but I also don't really think did that much running either.
Yeah, I mean, I have him second in here, and he can win in this spot. He's got the numbers to back him up. We'll see how he comes off the layoff for Ray Handel. I'm wondering, too, today if we're going to see a little bit more of like we saw in the second start. He'll have a little bit more forwardness to him in this spot. But, I mean, he is what he is, and he just has the most experience and the best figs out of this group.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, that's
I
just
agree.
the bottom line for him. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't want him as the favorite in here. But if you tell me that at the end of the day he's going to be 4-1 and the 1's going to be 2-1, I might rethink it a little bit and put a little money on 3 at 4-1.
And I think that Doomed would be a little bit more of a horse that people go to, but the wide outside post, growing post 12, and then off since last Saratoga, and then stretching out in distance as well. So we'll see what we get from this one, but certainly taking that little bit of a drop in class for a horse that ran okay enough first time out, just kind of that even run, but had some trouble in that spot.
Yeah, he got bounced around.
Yeah.
Pretty good in that spot, and even out of that race, a couple of horses won on dirt since then, Calling Card and Swift Magic too. So the post is tough for this horse, but it gets Dylan Davis, and that's never a bad thing with the way Dylan has come back and has been riding well. So the drop in class should help. The second dam was longer on turf, so I don't think the distance is going to bother this horse by any means today. So, I mean, I have the horse third in here, so I didn't find anything crazy in this race, although I do. Your horse has a look. No, it's not really crazy when you think about it with your horse. I'll let you talk about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think once you get past the ones that have the turf experience or that are taking that logical drop in class, you can get a little bit crazy or creative. And this one just has the turf pedigree on the dam side. And it's not as though the siblings are monsters or winning types, particularly. Noble Huntsman won for something, and My Cara Mia Mine won for something as well. But the dams, all three wins were on the turf. This is a family that Mitch Friedman has trained the siblings. Richard Greeley owns the dam as well as the siblings, and this one just seems like he's going to appreciate getting a little bit more ground to work with as well as that switch to the turf. And I also thought just a tough race to debut in. We've seen that race be very productive, of course, with Sand Devil and Prince Valiant even coming out of there. And then the note is absolutely accurate for this one. Second time out, veered into the break and bumped hard. This horse just took a turn right towards the rail coming out of the gate in there. So just that greenness as well. And I don't mind Ruben Silvera getting aboard for this one, who I thought, again, 2 sprints on the dirt, 2 a route on the turf with that little bit of turf pedigree. It's kind of a similar angle as to what I was using earlier, just hoping these horses might have a little bit more forward position.
Yeah, and the siblings did do better on grass than they did on dirt, so I think you've got that going for you. And Dancing in the Park was kind of my little idea on the bottom, too, because I feel like last time out, this horse also, too, kind of ducked in and wasn't having much of it, and then ended up inside in the turn, and that just felt more like a prep last time. And I think the debut got off a little bit slow and also kind of toward the track. So I think it's key that this horse get over the gate issues today, because I think this horse could actually play a little bit at a price today if he can get out of the gate.
All right, really looking forward to turf season as well as the earlier race for the maidens. And that'll do it for Paul and I. You can head on over to NYRABets.com, get signed up, get that free $25 Derby bet with promo code Derby25 and that $200 sign up bonus. We also have rewards points, 5 times the rewards points. Exactas here, Keeneland and Tampa Bay Downs. You have to opt in to be a part of that. And then we also have today's show. We're starting at 1 o'clock today. We go until, I believe, 5 o'clock today, all on FS2. You, me, Greg, Maggie, racing from Tampa Bay Downs as well. So plenty of action coming up, and looking forward to the grass.
Yeah, I am too. I'm glad to see it back, and the weather's cooperating, which we always love. Weather's nice. Come on out here if you're around. 70s today and sunny. This is what we waited for.
I know.
Like all winter.
The moment is here. All right. Good luck today, everybody.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NYRABets.com.